Hey gang, how's it going? So anyway, I tried a couple times doing this video last night, but it was just, I don't know, too late, and the thing was too long, so I'm just gonna, I kind of scaled it down a little bit, but anyway, so here we go. I'm gonna try it. This is the last time I'm gonna try it. Now, anyway, I know it's been a bit since I've done a video. Now, I've been kind of busy lately because one reason is I'm actually going to be moving pretty soon. I'm going to be moving out of this little apartment where I'm crammed in here like a sardine in a can, and going to be moving into a bigger house. So probably over the next month you won't see as many videos from me. But anyway, but I did have, but I decided maybe I'd do one more, before I really start getting busy with this move. And anyway, I decided to give a little shout out here to the Gothic Greaser. He kind of inspired me on this particular video. He did a video showing some Switchblades from his collections, showing the Chinese ones versus the Italian ones, and he compared quality on them, and so figured I'd just do something similar. So once again, shout out to Gothic Greaser for the inspiration on this. Now as far as stilettos, like Italian versus Asian. Anyway, I have a few here. I have these are from China right here. These are from Taiwan. And I think these are from Korea or maybe Taiwan, these OTFs, and this one here is from Japan. And up here are all my, it's most of my Italian knives, and in my Italian OTFs. So now quality on the Italians these are way more robust, definitely, than the Chinese ones and the knockoffs. First of all, one way you can tell the difference between a clone and a real Italian knife. Okay, this here is a Chinese stiletto with a AKC marking. Now, one way you can tell you have the real thing or not is you look at the overall make of and shape of the knife, and in the Chinese ones, the modern ones, which are made in China, they usually have the two pins here in the back, and the spring is this is a piece of is a rounded wire spring which is held in by a pin there, as you can see. And on the real Italian knives, like this here, this is a Armando Beltrame a stiletto, and well, with these, the Italian ones, they usually have the single pin on the back, and the spring, it's one solid piece that's integrated with the back spring, and as you can see, there's no pin there, and so that's one way you have the real deal. Yeah, and so quality as far as Chinese knives go, I mean, usually the Chinese knives have a better cutting edge than the Italian ones, but and so, I mean, if I was going to carry one, I usually don't carry a stiletto, but if I would carry a Chinese one. So the Italian knives, I try to keep them in as good a condition as possible, and I don't want to risk losing them. So I usually, if I'm going to carry a switchblade, Italian style switchblade, it's going to be a cheaper China model, like this one here, which has this nice black handle with this like white swirl on it. It's acrylic. And this here is another decent one. Yeah, these, I don't know why some of them have the nail nick on there. I don't know the reason for that, but yeah. So now the Taiwanese ones, these are pretty nice too. I must say, these two are almost identical, but this one, except it has a dagger grind blade, and this has a flat grind blade. And the Taiwanese ones, you can usually tell you're getting one from Taiwan if it has this extra large pin here at the bottom, as you can see. That's how you know, that's what most of the Taiwanese stilettos look like, whereas the China ones just have the regular sized pins here. Yeah, and next up, this is kind of a beast of a knife here. I have this 13-inch Chinese AKC clone. Now, it's marked AKC, says made in Italy, but trust me, it's not made in Italy. It's 100% China, as you can see the two pins there, and it has the spring that's a rounded wire spring that's held in by the pin. So, yeah, but it's a pretty nice knife. I mean, it's obviously not something practical to carry. I mean, it's just mostly just a big old letter opener, you know, is what it is. You know, it's a nice display piece. So, yeah, so that's the 13-inch one. And I have a swing guard here, which is 10 inches. Yeah, now, most of the swing guards usually have the back lock here, much like my Frank B here, which is an 11-inch, has the back lock. Now, I'm going to move on now to another swing guard. This is the really cheap one. This is the Rizzuto Stiletto Milano. These were made in Japan, and they were sold at marketplaces in Mexico back in the 70s and 80s. And they were in these things. They're such desirable collectible knives now because they're kind of iconic. They were used in so many movies and television shows throughout the 70s and 80s. So it's like they were kind of like a class. They're a classic movie prop. Like movies like Switchblades Sisters, and also other films like 316 Moment of Truth they were in, and you know, Christine, Beverly Hills Cop 2, you know, like this, you know, these knives, you know, like they're pretty iconic, like movie knives. Yeah, even though they're such poorly made, cheap pieces of crap, you know, and it's crazy seeing the abuse people put these things through in movies. I mean, I've seen people like pry screen windows open with them. I've seen people like prying open file cabinets and like picking locks with them. I mean, like if you even did a quarter of the things people do with them in movies in real life, I mean, I swear the blades, they would just snap right off. I mean, the handles, they would just shatter. I mean, it's not user knives at all. I mean, definitely just collectibles, you know, like anyway, much like these super automatic and NATO militaries, you know, they're just flimsy blades. They rattle around, you know, definitely not user OTFs. They're just, once again, they were just in so many movies, you know, and they're just really collectible for that reason alone. Just, you know, just little, you know, little mementos, you know, like kind of just novelty pieces is what they are. You know, they're just definitely not user knives. Next up, another one of my, this is one of my first Italian stilettos. One of my first real Italian ones is this, the 8-inch Ribby Rosfray flat grind blade, swivel bolster. And here's another Italian. This was one of my first Italians. It's it's a stag handle unstamped flat grind blade. And this one, I think this might have been a transitional one from the 60s. It has the swivel bolster. Now, most of the Italian stilettos back in the 50s had a pick lock mechanism and not the rocking bolster to unlock. It was where you have to pick this tab back with your fingers here to unlock the blade. Now, I don't have any pick locks, unfortunately, but I hope at some point I'll be able to get one. I mean, I haven't been able to afford them, but, you know, I'm hoping at some point I will get a nice pick lock. Anyway, in my most recent Italian stiletto purchase was this one. It's a 11-inch J Inox. Now, I saw a knife like this at an antique mall recently. I was one almost identical to that. I saw it in a case, and I couldn't get it at the time. I mean, it was $135. I mean, but I just spent like a whole bunch of money on my car, getting my car fixed, and so I was really set back. So I figured I'd wait a couple weeks and go back out there. and get it. But by the time I got there to the case to get the knife, the thing was gone. Somebody had snatched it a mere minutes before I got there. So I went online to a knife forum and I found a guy who had a similar one up for trade, and and I got it from him. So that was luckily I found something similar to what I was planning to get. Next up is my AGA Campolin Calibro shell puller, and this is the only AGA Campolin that I have. I plan to get more of these in the future. It says AGA Campolin, Montiago, Italy, and this was a custom one. It has a custom horn handle and custom oval button. I got it on a secondary market, so yeah, and I have one other shell puller, a Switchblade. It's a lever lock. It's a knockoff. It's GOM Inox shell puller with a Damascus blade and stag handle. Now, hopefully I'll be getting a real shell puller lever lock at some point. But the one I have, it kind of reminded me of Ralph Macchio's knife in The Outsiders. So, yeah, and here is an AKC Massaro lever lock, real stag handle, and this is a real AKC. This is definitely one of my favorite pieces. And here is an AKC. Now, this is an AKC knife, but it wasn't made in Italy. It's made in China. It's the Roma. Now, they designed this knife, and I think they're selling it under a new line called AKC World, which is some knives they've licensed to China. And I guess because they were having so much trouble with Chinese makers, like not ripping off their brand, their logo, on putting them on their knives, and and so I guess it was like, in the way the market is now with Italian knives, I guess it was kind of one of those. It was a do or die situation. Either they had just it got to a point where, like, you can't beat them, join them. So because I guess the Chinese market, those were really, it's so many people are like, buying the cheaper knives, and so I guess it was like really the only way they could stay competitive. Now, here's my AKC NATO military. Now, if you want a real NATO military that's actually one that could be a user knife, it's this one you want to get, because, because it's much more robust than this little piece of crap here, so this has a nice mirror polish blade, and the mechanism is really smooth, and so yeah, if you want something you could actually carry, I would definitely recommend this. And finally, got my AKC Concord, this one's marked Concord. I don't know if it's a AKC, but it is an Italian-made OTF, and it says Rosfray on the blade. And yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. And I do have a couple other AKC OTFs. I have an F20 and F16, which are more modern OTFs, and I also have a Blackfinger, which is put away somewhere. And finally, my Leverletto. Now, this is the only. Now, I do have some Leverletto style knives, but this is the only one I have that's marked Leverletto. It says Leverletto by Build to Shivs, AKC Italy, but unfortunately, this ain't a real Leverletto made in Italy. It's China clone, and you can tell because it says D2 tool steel on the back, which from what I understand, the real ones don't have that, and there's also an extra pin here, which the real ones don't have. But however, this one has a real stag handle, and a lot of China knives are being made with real stags. So yeah, but hopefully I'll get a real Leverletto at some point. Anyway, so that's about it. Yeah, just showing off some of my personal favorites, from my collection. And once again, thanks to Gothic Greaser for inspiring me on this. Anyway, yeah, and hopefully I'll be moving pretty soon, so gonna make my new place look really badass. So everyone, you take care out there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.